This is my review of the Pink Floyd album, The Division Bell. It was released in 1994 and produced by Bob Ezrin and David Gilmour. So, this album, I don't remember exactly when I got it. I remember it was Christmas. It was the same year I got Momentary Lapse of Reason. And I listened to that album before I listened to this one. I think I listened to them like back to back. And my initial reaction, I remember, was that album had at least one song that stuck in my mind, which was Learning to Fly. I knew before I got these albums because I had the Paul Slive DVD, and that does have a lot of songs off this album, but I had never really listened to any of those. I did listen to Learning to Fly. That was the only song from any of the newer albums on that DVD that I listened to. And that was really just because I kind of started watching it one day and kind of liked the beginning of it, so I just ended up watching the whole song. But I never really got into any of the other new songs. I think I probably watched them all at least once, but just kind of ignored them for the most part. So anyway, I listened to the albums, and Momentary Lapse, I was like, okay, that one at least had a memorable song on it, because I didn't find any of these songs really that memorable the first time I listened to it, but I definitely liked the way this album sounded better. This album is definitely a more Pink Floyd sounding album. It's got Rick and Nick back participating in the band, unlike Momentary Lapse. So that's kind of a plus for this album. And I think as I've listened to this album more, which I still don't really listen to this album a whole lot, but as I've listened to it more, I've definitely grown to appreciate it. The album starts with Cluster 1, which is an instrumental, and they started Momentary Lapse with an instrumental also, and I just I'm not sure if I like that. I feel like it seems like Gilmour is trying to kind of copy Dark Side a little bit, since that started with an instrumental as well. But, or at least like a kind of instrumental sound collage thing. I don't know, to me it's always seemed like he was trying to copy Dark Side a little bit with that kind of thing, and it's just kind of not that memorable of an instrumental really. And that was basically the same way with the album before this. But anyway, the second song, What Do You Want From Me, is probably, I don't know, if I had a favorite song from this album, it would probably be that one. I think that they probably should have just started the album with this instead of Cluster 1. It's got some cool guitar playing from Gilmour on it, and I think it's a pretty catchy song. So, not a bad song for the second song. The third song, Pulls Apart. Another one I like, and I think that it's another one that's pretty memorable, and I could see where some people who might be a fan of I don't know, Pink Floyd's older stuff, and then completely hate the stuff on Momentary Lapse that I thought were better tracks. People who didn't like that stuff probably will hate this song still, because it's kind of that similar, I don't know, songwriting style. I feel from that the Gilmour, most of the songs on here are written by Gilmour, and I think with lyrics from his wife, but there are other people that contribute to a couple of the songs. But I don't know, it's just kind of a similar songwriting style from that album. So if you didn't like the stuff on that album that was kind of good, then you probably won't like this either. But I think it's a decent song, kind of catchy. The fourth song, Marooned, an instrumental. This one I like better than Cluster 1 because it at least has some guitar work that stands out, and it's a little memorable for that. The fifth song, A Great Day for Freedom. I like the guitar solo more than I like the rest of the song, I think. It's kind of, I don't know, the opening vocal melody parts I just don't really like that much. And then the next part, it kind of gets better, but still just, I don't think a great song. The sixth song, We're in the Inside Out, is the Rick Wright song. It's the first time, and I don't know, since I think Wish You Were Here that he had a writing credit, which is, I think, just written by him. And he has a lead vocal, which is I think the first time since Dark Side maybe, or something like that. So that's cool. And it's a song that I kind of used to, the first time I listened to it, I wasn't really that impressed with it. But it's definitely grown on me, and it's one of the tracks I like more on the album now. The second song, Take It Back. This is one that I also like a lot, but I think it's just kind of because it's catchy. Probably really the catchiest song on here, I thought. But it's another one where I could see other people not liking it. Coming Back to Life. Another one that I think is pretty good, pretty cool guitar. I like the bass part on it. This one, Guy Pratt played bass on. He, I think, plays bass on a couple other songs on here. Maybe even most of it. I think Dave Gilmour plays bass on a few songs. I think the bass on this album works better than the bass on Momentary Lapse. Like, and Tony Levin's a great bass player, but he was just playing in a style that didn't really like fit the Pink Floyd sound really. And the bass playing on this album is more suited to Pink Floyd. It's not exactly like Roger or like the stuff that they've had on other albums in some ways, but I don't know, it fits Pink Floyd better. The ninth track, Keep Talking. This one kind of reminds me of video game music a little bit, and it's got the Stephen Hawking voice sample or whatever on it, and I don't know, it's a song that I like parts of it, but I just really can't bring myself to call it a good song. It's just, I don't know, it's a weird song. 10th song, Lost for Words. Another one that I kind of like, that's kind of grown on me, and I think it has some cool guitar parts and some cool keyboards. And then the 11th and final track, High Hopes. I think it's a good closing track. It's kind of long, but I kind of like some of the soloing and stuff, and it just kind of sounds cool. The Division Bell, I don't think is one of their best albums. I don't think it's a bad album, really. It sounds a lot more like Pink Floyd than the other, or the one before it, and I don't know, some of the songs I think are pretty good, but they're not like, I don't know. I think the songs with just Dave writing by himself isn't quite like, they're not up to the same standards as the older ones with Roger's input, and so the band just really overall kind of misses Roger during this period where he's not in the band. And I don't think it's like a great place to start with Floyd or anything like that. It's probably like an album that you want to listen to when you're tired of some of the other albums and want something that's pretty good. Because I mean, it's not a horrible album. It's just not bad. I think if you cut a couple of the songs, like you took out like Cluster 1, probably A Great Day for Freedom, and Keep Talking, and if you took out like those songs, it'd probably be a little bit better, I think. But I don't know. Not a bad album, just not a great album.